Hello everybody, hope you're having a fantastic day. It's another Market Watch episode and we'll be taking a look at some of the pairs and indices that I'm hoping to trade this week and why that is both fundamentally and technically. I also have an announcement for a new video that's coming up about the dynamics of equities and gold in Trump's presidencies. And so stay tuned for that and let's start today's video by taking a look at the overall markets today. So we can see equities and the dollar both taking a little bit of a dive to the bear side off of the weaker manufacturing PMIs that came out yesterday. And the dollar is heading towards the lowest since it's been on since 2023. So let's take a look at some of the pairs that I'm interested in. The first one being the S&P 500. Now you can see it's taking a little bit of a deeper dive here with the tariff drama that's happening, and especially the US. Europe sentiment that came into play recently with President Trump's announcement towards the tariffs in the Europe, and we also saw some extensions between the tariffs up to August 31st that came out recently. So the chart is currently going a little sideways, and I'm still bullish on the US equities market in general. Mainly because I think the tariff situation is going to get improved over time, and while we are having some turbulences, overall market I think is still looking pretty healthy to the upside to continue the bullish trend that we've been having. So I'll be interested in taking some positions down in these levels. Maybe if we get the price lowering back down to these levels, I will be interested in taking a long position in S&P 500 to add to my portfolio. So moving on from S&P 500, another chart that I wanted to talk about is gold. Now there is a video coming out. It will be out in my channel maybe in a couple of days. I'm still in the process of making it. It's mainly about how the gold market is keeping up with the equities at this current point in time with President Trump being at the office. We saw this happening earlier in his earlier term when he came back to the office for the first time. The equities market kind of and the gold market, the usual divergence they had was kind of not there. Meaning that usually when the equities markets are rising and the indices are doing better, the companies are doing better, gold tends to fall because when the economy is doing good, investors kind of gravitate towards more higher risk assets like indices or companies in general. But from the first term that President Trump came into the office, because of the uncertainty that has been going on and because of how he handles and changes things so quickly, there is a baseline uncertainty level that's going out in the market. So that's why, mainly one of the main reasons why gold has been doing so good, but at the same time indices are not doing too bad either. So I think gold is going to be a very interesting trade coming on to President Trump's term. And I'm also looking to go long on gold, but currently I think it's a little bit overextended, and hoping to see if we can get a pullback down to these levels maybe where I would be interested in going long. But for the short term, I think long is kind of range bound. At the moment we see this slight downward channel and it's being respected so far. You can see right here, maybe we have a bit of a fake out here, but I do think that this is still a healthy channel that we might be oscillating in between. But if we get a discount at these levels, if we get the price to move back down to these levels, I will be interested in getting a long position here for more upside, because uncertainty is a major role in whether you like it or not in President Trump's terms. So that's another pair that I'm looking this week to be, but this move is probably a ways away. So I might be entering at these levels as well as way down here. So I would be taking maybe two positions, one here and one here, looking to capture some of the moves that might be happening, even though fundamentally gold at this point is not really supporting a break above these levels right here. We are not seeing any catalyst that might run the price higher and break from these levels, except maybe something were to happen during the wars of Ukraine and Russia. We have the Gaza situation going on. Without any developments in the overall geopolitical tensions, I don't see these levels being broken, but I would be interested in, to the long term, if we get a pullback down to these levels, I would be interested in buying gold as well. Moving on to some forex pairs, GU is looking really interesting. And I did take a trade down in these levels around 1.34 level, and hoping to see if we can go back up to the daily highs here at about right here at about these levels, about 1.37, and maybe potentially all the way back up to 1.42. I might be adding, if the fundamentals are still looking good, I might be adding some positions at these levels to my trade to potentially go higher, to a higher range around 1.42. So the next move in this trade would be looking at a daily level. I would be interested in taking another long position if we can break above these highs right here, clean. If we can get a clean break and then maybe a retest, I would be interested in adding more towards my position in the GU long trade here. And another interesting pair is the EURNZD. If you take a look at economic data for the EURNZD, and the New Zealand dollar is pretty weak at the moment. So let me pull up the economic data here. And guys, this is the Edge Finder, which I use for my fundamental analysis. If you want to learn more about the Edge Finder, I will leave a link down in the description, so go check it out. It's by the good people at A1 Trading. So looking at the economic charts right here, we can see the New Zealand dollar is doing pretty good right now. The currency is pretty strong, and specifically because we have some good economic metrics coming out from the New Zealand, and comparatively the euro is down in the trenches, as you can see. One of the main reasons being the economic prints have not really been great. Actually, we can take a look at the EU economic heat map here, and you can see the impact on the euro is pretty weak. We have some higher unemployment rates that came out, and also some GDP, negative GDP coming out for the second quarter, I believe. So the economy is not really looking good. And on top of that, just to add more fire into the whole situation, Trump declaring a 50% tariff on EU goods is not helping the European economy as well. So we might be looking at a weaker euro going into the second quarter of this year. So that's why I'm pretty bullish on the whole idea of Euro New Zealand trade. And taking a look at the trade, I will be interested in shorting the Euro New Zealand dollar, but not at these current levels. If we can get a break below these 18700 levels, and then maybe a retest back down, and then I would be interested in going along in these areas, maybe potentially hoping to get the prices moving down to these lows right here, maybe a level back down to these levels that we might be starting to see some support coming in. So that is a trade idea that's going into this week. I'm hoping to catch, but it is still kind of ways away, but we don't know. Markets move very fast these days, so we might actually be getting this entry this week, or maybe during the next few weeks. So that is something that I'm interested in. And if something were to change in the fundamentals, I will be updating you guys here on the channel, so don't worry about it. And another trade that I am in and hoping to scale further is actually the Russell trade. I took a second position on this pullback down at these levels. Right now it's kind of going sideways, but I'll be looking out for this trade and see if we can break above these levels that we've been tested. But we found solid bearish pressure when we came up to these levels at 100. But we'll see if we can get a break above this level. And if we were to get a break above this level, I might be potentially adding to this trade for further upside, because the Russell is kind of ways away from its all-time highs at these levels, about 2471. Unlike the S&P or the Nasdaq, which are really close to their all-time highs at these levels, about 2200. So we'll be taking a look at those levels, and that's it for today's analyze. Thank you again for so much for watching. Stay tuned for the gold video that's coming out, and please subscribe and share. I will be uploading every week about these market analysis, and if you're interested, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on other videos. Thank you. Bye bye.